Hello learners, in today's session we will understand the concept of organizational structure to better understand organizational behavior. So let's begin the session. First, let's understand what do we mean by organization structure. It is said that an organization that is well structured, it achieves effective coordination, and this structure helps the organization to achieve its objective in an efficient manner. What is the organization structure? It is actually the method by which the work flows through the organization. It allows the groups to work together within their individual function to manage the task. So, organization structures define the manner in which the roles, power, authority, and responsibilities are assigned and governed in an organizational setting, and it depicts how the information flow between the different level of hierarchy in an organization. So we can say that organization structure is basically, see how we see organization. An organization is a social unit of individual. This organization is designed and managed to achieve the collective goals. Now, every organization has its own typical management structure, which define and govern the relationship between various employees, the task that they perform, the role and responsibilities, and the authority which is provided to them to carry out their task. So, we can say that the organization and its structure. So, the structure of organization design depends on its objective and the strategies adopt in achieving those objectives. Now, every management need to seriously consider how they wish to structure the organization. Now, there are some critical factors which must be considered by the organization before they decide the style of organization or the structure of organization. So, the first factor is the size of the organization. If you are a big organization or you have just started with a handful of employees, the structure will be different. Then, what is the nature of your business? Are you into services? Are you into production of tangible goods? Are you working for social welfare? Are you an NGO, non-profit organization? Are you the state company or the government company which has a purpose to serve the society first? So the nature of business also influence the decision of organization structure style. Then the objective and the business strategy which you want to achieve, and the organization environment. So these four factors are very critical in understanding and determining before deciding which type of structure an organization should have. Now, the organization structure is framed by several elements. So let's understand these elements one by one. So organizational structure is made up of all these 6 elements, and these are very important elements. So the first one is job designing, then departmentalization, then reporting relationship between the jobs, distributing authority among jobs, coordinating the activities among jobs, and differentiating among the positions. Why do we need to study these elements? Because it will help us understand what makes one organization structure different from other organization. When we want to understand their structure, we have to understand all these 6 elements, because these elements club together to frame a structure which is specific to that organization's need and objective. So let's understand the first element, designing jobs. It is the first building block of organization structure. It means defining an individual's responsibility at work. So job design involves defining the areas of decision making responsibility, identifying goals and expectations, and establishing appropriate indicators of success. So let's understand. When you want to decide which type of structure do you want for your organization, the first thing you have to pay attention is how you are going to design the job. What would be the profiles that you will create for the individuals who will perform the responsibilities in that job. It is a very important and very significant aspect, because the way you will design job will also pave way for the relationship or the hierarchy of seniors and subordinates. So when we design jobs, it is a big responsibility and should be done sufficient research and homework before, so that the job which you've designed are actually useful for the organization, and the efforts of the individuals which are utilized in performing that job are actually helping the organization. So there are several tools which can be used for job designing. The first one is job specialization, which means there are special skills which are required for specific job or task. You must pay attention that one specific job should be done by the person who is possessing the skills for successfully implementing the results in that job. The second is work team. When there is a difficult job which needs to be done, then you need expertise from different departments. So it is better that you create a team of different experts from different departments to work on that complex job. Next is job rotation. Job rotation is moving the employee from one task to another. In job rotation, the benefit of this is that when you expose the employee to different kind of tasks, then the employee understand, one, the importance of the task he or she is doing in his job role. Two, he understand how his role is associated or interdependent or interrelated with other tasks also. How his laziness in performing a job can influence or impact or delay the job of another person. When he is exposed, he is rotated on several different tasks, he also understands that what skills does he possess and what new skills he should possess to do his job more efficiently. Next is job enlargement. Job enlargement is done when the number of tasks which are given to an individual are increased. So earlier you were performing 5 tasks, but after job enlargement the same worker will be doing 9 tasks. So this is job enlargement. When the organization starts believing that you can perform other tasks also, job enlargement is done. This also gives employee the belief that the organization has been observing the kind of job he is into, the task he is performing, and the organization believe in him that he can also take upon other tasks. So it will motivate the employee, boost his confidence, and also encourage him to do more in his job. Another one is job enrichment. Job enrichment is similar to job enlargement. The difference is, in job enlargement, many new tasks are added to your current task list, but in job enrichment, your tasks are increased. Along with that, your responsibility is increased and authority increased. So when you are job enriching, you are giving more control of that job to that individual. In job enlargement, you are simply performing that job, but the accountability lies with the manager, or you are performing the task, but the steps you are following are decided by the manager. So you are not controlling the decision. But in job enrichment, the individual is also given the authority to control the decision, which is related with the additional tasks which are added to his or her job. So this is all about designing the job, which is very important element of organization structure. Second is departmentalization or grouping jobs. When we see that there are 8 to 10 employees who are performing similar kind of job, so we club them together and we name it. We group these jobs together and we name it as a department. So people who are working on recruitment, selection, headhunting, who are taking care of salary, all these are HR related jobs. So you are performing the job of a HR manager. So when many employees are doing a similar kind of job, so we name it as a department. We group those jobs and start calling it as a department. So departmentalization is very important, because when the organization is growing, the number of people working under you will also grow and the department will also grow. So you have to now frame more subunits. So when in an organization the department grows, it gives rise to the need of creating sub units in the same department. For example, earlier you were having a team of 8 to 10 employees who were working on the payroll, who were working on the recruitment, who were working on the grievance handling. Now you see that your organization is growing and more training and workshop sessions are taking place. So within that HR department, you will now create a subunit which will be dedicated in handling the training and workshop related tasks only. One will be related to the grievance handling only. Another one will be related to career planning only. Then you will have another separate unit which now these employees are working on the appraisal only. So departmentalization is required because it boosts the productivity of the employees. Now, on the basis of departmentalization, there are several types of departments which can be created. For example, functional departmentalization. Now, these bases over which you have grouped the jobs. Now, let's understand the functional department. The functional departmentalization is done when you segregate the activities on the basis of functions performed. So in functional department, you will see different functions as different departments. So the functions which are related to accounts, we start calling it as accounts department. The functions which are related to HR, we start calling it as HR department. The functions which are related to marketing, we will start calling it as a marketing department. The second basis of grouping jobs is called product departmentalization. Here you are creating the departments on the basis of products. A company might have several different types of products. So now for handling one product by one team, we start calling it as a one product department. So let's say if a company has 5 products, it is producing 5 different products. So now it will create department. Department A will work for product 1. Department B will work for product 2. Now these departments are divided, are given the different products, and they will be focusing and working only on their product, not the other products. So it creates synergy and efficiency in the system. Third basis of departmentalization is customer departmentalization. So if you have different kinds of customers, so for such kind of customers, you will make departments and one department will be handling a separate segment of customer. For example, if a company is dealing in a product which is catering to uh, kids also, females also, and males also. So departments can be created depending on the customer. So for female customer, one department is created. For male customer, another department is created. This is how the departmentalization is done on the basis of customers. Then is location or territory departmentalization. When on the basis of the location of your organization or your company, the departments are made. So let's say for India, or let's say for Asia, McDonald's is a USA based company. Now if it wants to departmentalize the Asian branches of McDonald's, so it can departmentalize the Indian McDonald's branch, the Pakistan McDonald's branch, the Indonesia branch, China branch, Japan branch. So on the basis of location, departmentalization is also done. So the team who is handling Indian branch will handle only Indian affairs, not Chinese affairs. And the last one is metrics departmentalization. All these organizations which are today called global organization or giant organizations or transnational, or we also name them as multinational, uh, you will see a combination of the above four. You might see in one organization they are using the functional departmentalization, they are also using product departmentalization, they might also be using customers. So when an organization uses 2 to 3 types of departmentalization basis, it is known as matrix, and all multinationals uses matrix type of departmentalization. Moving ahead, the third element is you have to establish the reporting relationship. So the reporting relationship is in the organization, you must clarify the chain of command and the span of management. Chain of command shows a clear, distinct line of author among the position, and the span of management indicate the number of people who report to a particular manager. So the organization hierarchy should be established and the line should be defined. Every employee should know who he is supposed to report to, and every employee should know from where the command will come. So this relationship is very important, the chain of command and the span of management. The management should understand and should realize the importance of span, because they have to calculate it how many subordinate one senior can attend at a given point of time. So this is very important so that there is a consistent flow of work. The manager is not overloaded by the reporting and the work is not delayed. The next element is distributing the authority. It is a very responsible job because you cannot give authority to everyone. It is very important to understand that the person who you are authorizing with some decision making power must have the skills and competency to do justice with that authority. Now authority is delegated from the seniors towards the juniors. So it is very important to decide how you are going to distribute this authority amongst people, because you do not want to create conflict amongst the employees. You have to research it, do your homework well, and then devise a mechanism or a method with which you will distribute the authority amongst different positions. Because with every authority comes the responsibility. So the person who is at a certain position, who has been given the authority, he automatically now has the responsibility to answer the results, whether comes positive or negative. Next is coordinating the activities. Coordination is like other functions, it is invisible. Coordination is not something that you need for one department and you do not need for another department. Coordination is not something which should stay with seniors only. Coordination is the essence of management. At some point, every department, because see, all these departments are the components of a system. This system is the organization. Though every component has different skill and job to perform, yet they are working for common objective. So all these departments are interdependent on one another to finish the common objective or goal of the organization. If they do not coordinate well in time, then the result might delay, the process might delay. So it is required that this harmony of individual efforts is achieved so that everyone finish their job in time. If there is less coordination, then because interdependence is there, so it is required that people should coordinate, because one department's output will become input for another department. Modern organizations depend upon specialization of functions delegated to different individuals. If each individual is allowed to perform his function efficiently without taking note of the connected function performed by another individual, it will create chaos in the organization. So, when we study functions of management, we study planning, organizing, directing, controlling, and coordination. If it comes in the last, does not mean it is not required in the upper functions. It is present in every function. When you are planning, there is a team working on planning and everyone has to coordinate. When the company have a meeting to plan the next year, maybe let's say they are planning the production. So in that meeting, they need everyone, they need managers from all departments, because at the end of the day, production matters. So to produce the expected numbers of product or units, they need marketing manager, they need procurement manager, because he is the one who will procure the supplies for the production department. They need the production manager, they need the sales team, they need the HR staff, because it has to be decided in advance that if we have to produce a certain number of units of product, then how many people do we need to work for achieving this goal. And if all these departments are sitting in one meeting, it means everyone has an important role to play and all the roles are interconnected. So coordination is must for the organization structure. So when you are designing the hierarchy of the organization, when you are deciding the structure of the organization, you must pay attention to the coordination. Then the next element is differentiating between position. It is very important to create the differentiation between the line and the staff position in the organization. A line position is in direct chain of command, also responsible for the achievement of organization goal. A staff position is there only to provide expert advice and support for line positions. So with line and staff position, we understand that when you are designing the structure of your organization, you should be very clear as to who is going to command the people, and who all will follow those commands. For example, the line is the CEO of the organization. The line position is the CEO. Now the CEO is the person who will decide the objective, how to achieve this objective. In order to achieve that objective, the CEO, he alone himself cannot perform all the functions, all the jobs. He will need the support staff. So this support staff will be there. They can be those department managers, the production manager, the HR manager, the sales manager. This CEO, who is the line position, will need the HR manager or other managers as staff position to have a clarity of their job. By differentiating between these positions, it does not say that we create this difference on the basis of the hierarchy or the position they are carrying in the hierarchy. No, we are not speaking about that. We are speaking that it should be very clear who is going to plan and who will work on that plan. So planning is one thing and execution is another thing. One individual cannot handle both. Let's talk about these modern organizations. In these modern organizations, the differences are very less. So we cannot say that these organizations are not paying attention to this element of organization structure. Rather, these modern organizations like these startups. Let's take the example of these startups. A handful of people start the company and gradually they hire more and more people when their product is accepted in the market and they have to produce it in mass. So these people, when they start initially, they do not want to differentiate between line and staff because they have lack of resources, scarcity of resources, and they have to almost take in all the functions in their hand and work parallelly. So, but when the organization grow, we need people who will sit only for the planning and we need people who will work on that plan, because when the organization is expanding, it is growing, there are many affairs related to business, revenue generation, profit maximization, market share increase, which they have to pay attention to. So though it is paid less attention in modern organization, and they do not want to create this difference because they might see it as a difference of role, but in traditional organizations this has been paid due attention. And if you see, if we take the example of India, if we take the example of Indian public sector companies, you can see the differentiation of position very clearly. And initially when it was framed for benefiting the organization's objective requirement as to who is going to plan, who will command people, and who are the ones who will support the line manager to finish the objective of the organization. So these were the elements. Now let's speak about few other elements which are very important for the organization structure. The one is centralization and decentralization. Companies, they often implement a centralized or decentralized organization structure to establish management protocol and facilitate clear communication. To understand the differences between two structures, centralization is one structure, decentralization is another one. A company choose the right one depending on the factors. So whether you want to be centralized or you want to be decentralized, you have to decide on few factors like the size of the staff, the variety of product line, and global market share. Whenever a new organization comes in the market, it follows the centralization structure. What is centralization? Let's understand. It is a process where the concentration of decision making is vested in few hands. All the important decision and actions At the lower level, all subject and actions at the lower level are subject to the approval of top management. According to Allen, it is the systematic and consistent reservation of authority at central points. So centralization is reservation of decision making power at top level of management. It is the reservation of operating authority with the middle level and the reservation of operation at lower level at the direction of the top level. Let's take an example. If you are a new startup and you are a team of 5 to 10 people now. So you opened a restaurant. So in the beginning, because you have scarcity of resources, you cannot hire many people. You will try to handle all the affairs of accounts, HR hiring, their compensation, marketing, everything in your own hand. And you do not want to give this decision making to others. So you want to control all the decisions with you. Now your product has been, your restaurant is working good and it is growing, and now you are expanding. You are now opening many other branches in different locations of the city. Now as you grow, as the number of employees working with you grows, as the number of branches of your company grows, it will become tougher to take all the decisions for all these branches, for all these employees by one individual or by 2-3 individuals, because it will become tough now to handle all the affairs by one person. But initially, centralization is concentration of decision in few hands. Now, with this example, you understand that when the companies grow, a time will come when you will decentralize, which means you will delegate the authority at all the levels of management in the organization. Now, the decentralization concern authority in retained by the top management for taking major decision and framing policy concerning the whole concern. Rest of the authority may be delegated to the middle level and lower level of management. Obviously, let's continue with the same restaurant example. Now you have many branches, so you will hire a branch manager for your restaurant and he will take care of the affairs. But when it comes to taking major decision might be that he wants to hire a complete new team of chef. Then this decision this manager cannot take, you as a central authority will take. So decentralization, do not mistake it as the handing over of all types of authorities to all level of management. No, a wise decision is made as to what extent I can give the decision making power to which level, what kind of decision should be or what kind of authority should be delegated to the manager, and what kind of authority can be delegated to the team leaders, supervisors at the lower level. So it is the systematic effort to delegate to the lowest level of authority. Here is the difference between centralization and decentralization. The power in centralization is vested to the top management, but in decentralization, power is distributed to different levels of management, that is to middle and lower level also. Then centralization is the systematic and consistent concentration at central point, whereas in decentralization, it is a systematic delegation of authority in the organization. In centralization, formal communication takes place, whereas in decentralization, communication is not limited to the top level, but it is a two-way communication to the lowest level of the management. Now, the other type of structure is differentiation and integration. As the name suggests, differentiation occurs when department or the division of large company, they operate independently from each other and create their own culture. So you are now differentiating between the division of the companies. Why this differentiation is required? Because a time will come when your company can help itself apart from competitors and it can increase the marketability to a greater general audience. The example of differentiation is given here for automobile manufacturers like Toyota. Toyota have different plants, division or department who market a wide array of vehicles to different income groups. So differentiation is created by different division or different department. One division of Toyota is handling the luxury segment of cars. One division or different plant is producing or assembling the middle class or for the lower class, the car segment which is meant for the middle class or the average income earners. The second is integration. It is exactly opposite of differentiation. Integration is the dependence of the company and the related departments. So integration is more centralized and top-down management of an operation. So in integration, the company is dependent on the top management because the senior management and the owners of the company, they control the culture, operation and segregation of the company. The example is Apple company. Apple has multiple products and it has multiple products reaching the market every year. All products are marketed under one parent name and Apple control the software on each product. These companies market under one name and the perception of a single company is dependent on the operation of each department for success. So these are two different types of structures which are seen today. Now let's understand what do we mean by mechanistic and organic structure of the organization. Organic organizations are the ones which have a low degree of formality, specialization and standardization. So these organizations are basically decentralized, which means their decisions are taken at different levels. The authority is delegated at different levels and their activities are well integrated. The organic model is usually flat and uses cross-hierarchical and cross-functional teams to process a comprehensive information network which will feature lateral and upward communication in addition to downward communication. So here we can see both upward and downward communication. What are the features of organic structure? One, it assumes that human interaction in the workplace are important to satisfy employees. So they believe in informal setups. Socio-psychological study of people helps in achieving organizational effectiveness. So you can see that organic organization structures are those where the formality is low. So they do not focus more on formal relationship, formal chain of communication, but rather low degree of formality and low degree of specialization, because they believe when people sit together they can have the good relationship on the basis of talk and maintaining informal relationship. So the focus of organic organization is on human relationships. So these structures are usually lean, flat and less hierarchical because people are given, because this is a decentralized structure. So the authority is divided amongst many people. So the hierarchy is less. The mechanistic organizations are opposite of these organic organizations. They have centralized decision making. Their systems are standardized and they are controlled by top management. These organizations works in stable environment. They have clearly defined departments. They have formal channels of communication and they proceed through formal meetings. They feature many hierarchical layers and they focus on reporting the relationships. General Motor is a good example of such kind of organization. Why do they use mechanistic organization? Because one, General Motors is a very large organization and many people are working there and different functions are involved. So different orders are needed. And they are also working in a stable environment. The car market fluctuates with the economy, but the company builds cars and trucks also. So across all their division, that function is basically the same. So they focus more on centralized mode of working. They work according to the centralized structure, and these mechanistic organization are very formal in nature, and they follow a standardized pattern of doing jobs and reporting to, because they follow hierarchy. So the relationship of reporting is very clear in such organization. Everyone is clear about their roles and responsibilities. So formality is there, and people work in a very simple predefined manner. The features of such structures is that they see these people who follow mechanistic structure, they view the organization as a machine which can convert the input into output. So they take business very seriously. Two, they assume that organization operate in a stable, simple and predictable environment. So they do not want to complicate these simple environment by believing in decentralization. They focus more on increasing the efficiency through specialization. Such organization believe that you can achieve efficiency when you work on specialization and you standardize the work. So there is a set pattern of how this work will be done. No matter people change, but the process will remain the same. So the new people who will join the organization, they are also introduced the same pattern of working, and it will simplify their work. And there should be a formal hierarchy of authority. People should know what authority they are given, how they will take decision, and to what extent their decision can be taken, and they are accountable for the results which will come after implementing the decision. So here, by understanding the organization structure, we understood how the different requirement of organization paves way for different kind of organization structures. So in this session, we are ending here. I hope you understood the concept of organization structure. Let's meet in another session. Thank you.